Southside Dwell doing business as Prospect and ATX Southside versus Maya Imperial, Aaron Stevens, and others on behalf of Southside.
Anna Ham for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Anna Ham for the plaintiff.
Oh, good afternoon, Ms. Ham.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right. And do I have someone on behalf of, let me ask first for our first defendant, is there someone here from Maya Imperial? How about is there someone here on behalf of Aaron Stevens?
Yes, I'm here.
Good afternoon, Ms. Stevens. Thank you for being here. All right. Ms. Ham, why was this case filed?
This is an eviction based upon the non-payment of rent. The monthly rent is $1,695. Due to that default, a 3-day notice to vacate was delivered inside the unit in a conspicuous space on April 14th of 2026, and to our knowledge, the defendant has failed to vacate. Therefore, we are seeking the back due rent for April and a prorated May for a total amount of $2,461. We are also seeking possession of the lease premises, back due rent, court costs, and attorney's fees in the amount of $1,100.
Any subsidy on the rent? Ms. Ham,
No,
is there
Your
any
Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. And then you said the 3-day notice was inside the unit and that was done April 14th. Was April the first time they'd been late on the rent?
Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Stevens. Thank you for being here. Ms. Ham is representing the landlord. She says this case is one involving financial situation, so no other types of allegations. My first question is the monthly rent amount correct? Is the flat rent, just the rent, is it $1,695?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then is it correct that April and May remain unpaid?
That is correct.
All right. Ms. Stevens, with that information, the landlord meets their burden for a case. Can I answer any information or any questions for you?
I don't have questions. I have, I suppose, a defense. I don't know if I can enter that at this time.
Well, certainly, this is your opportunity to be able to share.
I was late, so I was homeless, and then I had shingles, and then I had a concussion. Finally was able to move in with, I thought was a good friend. And so I was late, but I did pay March, and she was angry, and we have been emailing one of the office staff, and she said, well, I'm moving out. So she's not been here to receive any of these documents. She still is on the lease. I've been getting her mail. I don't think she knows the mailbox number. And she said, I'm moving out I believe that was March 25th. And then she texted me separately. I don't care if I get an eviction. She's basically just doing this to screw me over. And it's working, unfortunately.
Oh, no
yeah,
fun.
I
No
can't.
fun.
I'm having no luck finding roommates. They were told, I was told I could do that. Maya tried to get subletters. They told her you can't do that. She tried to tell the office staff I was dangerous and they should kick me out, and they said you can't do that. So she got angry and just didn't help me pay, and I could not, I couldn't work if I wanted to with shingles and then a concussion. I couldn't move, and then the medication I was on made me loopy when I was not in pain. So I'm kind of stuck here, but here I am.
Well, Stevens, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up your obligation. It sounds like your roommate is not doing the same. I mean, I can at least acknowledge that she did not come to court, though she was properly summoned and notified. And
oh, yes.
Simply leaving the contract does not remove her from the obligation. So the judgment is equally for her and you.
Right. And she's aware of
that is very true.
Correct. Right. She's aware of this, but she, as she told me herself, I don't care. She's doing this to mess with. Yeah.
Ms. Stevens, you have the empathy of us because we've all probably had to deal with something like that at one point.
Yeah.
Let me give you some information, and certainly then you have a sense of a timeline. And then I will also say, I'll give you the general ideas here. You can always contact your landlord directly and get more concrete information from them about what they intend to do next, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so today the judgment would be for the back rent April and then a proration for May, so the total amount is $2,461. And I'll just highlight, Ms. Stevens, that that number is not equal to the kind of like a final accounting you may receive from the landlord. Per the lease, they've already asked you to pay the entire month of May. Ms. Ham is only asking that I award rent through today. So they're asking for essentially a little bit less money. That's just like to highlight that there may be a difference. But today they're only asking for rent through today for 14 days of May. In addition to the 2461, it is per the contract in the statute that attorney's fees can be awarded, and we would give $1,100 or award. I'm not giving anyone, it's being awarded per the statute. The only additional money that's added to that would be the cost of court, which is, like I said, about $130. Now, Ms. Stevens, you and technically Ms. Imperial, though she's not here, she may learn of this. Either one of you and the landlord, all of you have an opportunity to appeal. You have 5 days to do so beginning tomorrow. If you wanted to appeal, or if anyone does, the appeal bond will be equal to 1 month of rent. So it will be $1,695. And that can be done again with cash, with bond, or with an affidavit if you qualify. If you take no action, you get at least 5 more days before the landlord can seek the writ of possession. And the landlord can seek the writ of possession up to 60 days from now. So I highlight that to say that though they can seek it on day 6, sometimes the landlord does not wish to do so until day 10 or day 12. And that's why communication may let you know when do they intend to enforce that. And that way you have a stronger idea of how much exactly time you have. Okay. And again, if you appeal and do things, then that may further delay that timeline. All right, Ms. Stevens?
I have a question.
Absolutely.
When you said the bond is amount,
$1,695.
yes, is that what I pay to file, or is that?
I mean, the answer is yes. So an appeal bond is an amount of money that's required so that the case isn't just delayed for nothing. It's an amount of money that's paid to the court, and that way, if a party loses, then that money is already there to be given to the winning party, right?
I see. Okay.
It's called, that's why it's the bond. It's kind of like the assurity
Right,
that
that's
someone's going to
what
end up getting
yes.
money after we go through all this.
Okay.
Now, I will highlight the appeal bond is $1,695 for all parties. If you wanted to appeal, but you can't afford the $1,695, you can apply for an affidavit of inability. And depending on the situation, sometimes that's granted, sometimes it's automatic. One thing that's important to know, even if you could appeal for free, let's say you automatically got an affidavit of inability. If you want to keep living in the unit while the case is being sent to a new court for hearing, you have to pay rent of $1,695, but you pay it to the court and not to the landlord.
Okay. Is that the same as this bond?
No, it's two different things. One is the bond and then one is rent. And so that's why I have to determine, I have to say out loud in our hearing what each of those is. So the process is you file an appeal bond. And then after we get the bond, we give you an exact timeline. We say by this date at this time, that much money must be in the court's repository. It can't be in the mail. It can't be on the way. It's got to physically be in my clerk's hand. And if so, then the writ of possession would not issue until the new court hears it.
Okay.
All right.
So I have another question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would like to leave because I cannot afford it now. 2-person, or 2-bedroom apartment and just me, clearly, which was her plan. But I'm having the most difficult time finding roommates, but I don't want an eviction on my record. So I guess an appeal is best.
Contact any of those legal aid groups, because I can't tell you if it's best or
you're not
worst
here
or
for
what.
legal advice.
That's getting into kind of a,
Right,
everyone can go on a trip their own way. What's the best route to take? I don't know. Depends on the trip.
Right.
So, Ms. Stevens, we automatically send all parties, both landlord, defendant, everybody gets a copy of the order and a copy of the appeal information.
Right.
Use that. You can reach out to any of those legal aid services or any others that you find, and they can really help you say, based on your situation, what might be the best option.
Okay. I suppose what I'm asking is, would Maya and I file that appeal together?
No, either one of you appealing works for both of you. So you don't ever have to hear from her again. If you appeal though, but I will say if you appeal, it appeals for both of you. Same thing, if she appealed, it appeals for both of you.
I see. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. All parties are excused. Ms. Ham, did you have any questions?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, then. All parties are excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our next case is 26680. That's Willowbrook Apartments, or I'm sorry, Willowbrook Associates versus Amber Brosseau, Renardo Page Jr., and others on behalf of Willowbrook.
Nationwide.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And do I have our first defendant? Do I have someone here on behalf of Amber Brosseau?
Yes, that's me.
Good afternoon. And do I have someone on behalf of the second defendant, Renardo Page Jr.?
I'm right here.
Good afternoon to you as well.
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Carcos, why was this case filed?
This is failure to pay rent. Rent is $11.30 a month. They owe March through the prorated of May for a total of $27.70 and back rent through today. 30-day notice to vacate was personally delivered to them on March 12th. There's no government subsidy, and we're seeking back rent, court costs, and possession.
Right. And was March the first time they were late?
No, Your Honor.
Was it 30 days because it's CARES, or is that just that landlord's policy?
I believe because it's CARES.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Brousseau, Mr. Page. Thank you both for being here.
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Carcos is here. She's representing the landlord. She works for a group called Nationwide. So if you've never heard of her company, that's not uncommon. My first question is, she says this case is solely about payment of money. It's a financial case. Is the monthly rent amount correct? Is it $1,130?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then is it correct that March, April, and May remain unpaid?
Correct.
All right, with that information, the landlord meets their burden on a non-payment case. Can I answer questions for you? I like to give people timeline and let you kind of know exactly, at a minimum, what happens next. Immediately, any questions come up?
Not any questions, no, but I do have a few things.
All right, Ms. Brousseau, what would you like to say?
So I had originally made a promise or signed a promise to pay for March the 13th, and then on March 12th, I emailed the landlord and asked her if I could have an extension and told her that I would be able to pay on the 27th. Excuse me. And she said that that was okay because I was going to have a partial payment made by St. Vincent de Paul. And St. Vincent de Paul came and gave her the check. And on the 27th, when I asked her how she wanted me to pay, because usually I pay online and the entire, it won't let me make partial payments.
Mhm.
So she told me to wait. On the 27th, she told me to wait to pay until she deposited the check from St. Vincent de Paul. And
Okay.
then the next day, April's rent posted. And so when I called her and asked her, well, how can I pay what I owe you now? She said that I would have to have March and April to her by I think she said April 12th.
Okay.
So then I was unable to pay the entire balance because it was a large balance. And so I ended up emailing back and forth with her. And she told me that I had until May 14th, which is today, to vacate the apartment. And that if I vacate beforehand, she would be able to cancel the eviction. And so
Did you move out? Ms.
that
Brousseau?
since I haven't vacated yet, that yes, ma'am.
No, you broke up. My question was, have you moved out? But then you
Yes, I
broke
have.
up. When did you move out?
Yesterday.
Did you return the keys?
The keys I actually do not have in my possession because they were lost.
Did you notify the landlord you'd moved out?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I sent her an email last night and told her that I have surrendered the unit and I vacated the property.
Is every single thing removed from the unit? Every piece of furniture, every piece of clothing, every box, every book, everything? Is it empty and completely back to the way it was when you received it first time?
Not completely empty, no, ma'am. I could only take, it was just two of us moving.
So what's still in it?
There's a dresser in there, a bed frame, and there's a few
Yeah,
other
no, I'm sorry.
items.
That doesn't count. That means you're still in possession of it. All right, Ms. Brousseau, unfortunately, if you had completely vacated it, I would have been interested and then I would have taken a look at some of the paperwork. If you've still got furnishings in it, that is not sufficient as an actually abandonment of the unit or a move out of the unit.
Okay.
Okay. Today it's a judgment for the plaintiff for the back rent, March, April, and then a prorated for May. It's $27.70. The only extra cost to that, Ms. Brousseau, Mr. Page, is going to be the cost of court. Both of you can appeal that. Technically, all three of you can appeal it because, again, the landlord has that right to. Appeal bond, I'll leave as 1 month of rent, so that's $11.30. Ms. Brousseau, Mr. Page, I'll just give you a bit of information. Ms. Carcos is not the landlord. She represents a third party and they were hired by the landlord to come here. So I'll just say that Ms. Carcos has kind of limited ability, but I will give you some information. You mentioned that you had found some legal assistance or maybe some financial aid there.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
in the next 5 days, Willowbrook accepts your money and wishes to set aside the eviction, they have that option. Now, that is the plaintiff's option, Ms. Brousseau and Mr. Page. They do not have to do so, but you may wish to reach out to them or contact legally. We have other options. Certainly, you have the right to appeal. Okay, I just say that if parties come to an agreement and the landlord notifies me by the end of the 5 days that they wish to set this aside, I can still do that. I cannot do it though after we get past that appeals deadline. Okay, Ms. Brousseau?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any questions at all, Ms. Brousseau or Mr. Page, about the information I just gave you? Okay. All right, very best of luck. Thank you for coming. All parties are excused.
Your Honor.
No.
Yes. I heard someone say Your Honor. Who is that?
I said, thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Cargill. Sorry. 26-682 will be our next matter. Northland Monterey Ranch versus Kevin Edmond, Jason Kreider, and others on behalf of Northland.
Nationwide.
Do I have someone here on behalf of Kevin Edmond?
Kevin.
Good afternoon, sir. Do
Good
I have
afternoon.
someone on behalf of Jason Kreider?
Jason, right here.
Good
Your Honor,
afternoon to you as
hello.
well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Clarkos, why was this case filed?
This is failure to pay rent. Rent is $14.60 a month. They owe March through the prorated of May for a total of $35.79 in back rent through today. 30-day notice to vacate or notice to pay was placed inside the unit on March 9th. There's no government subsidy. We're seeking back rent, court costs, and possession.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Edmond, Mr. Kreider. Thank you both for being here. As I've heard with the other case today, this is a financial case. So my first question, as I've asked others, is the monthly rent amount correct? Is it $14.60?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then are March, April, and May unpaid?
Yes.
All right. With that information, the landlord proves their case for non-payment. Can I answer any questions? Is there any information you want to share with the court?
Yes, ma'am. We're working with a nonprofit, Front Steps,
Okay.
that are willing to help catch us up with rent, as well as give us help seeking new jobs. We were both recently let go from the same company,
I'm sorry.
and budget planning
Okay.
is another thing they're gonna help us with. They just need a little bit of time to cut the check to Northland, which I believe they've been in contact with each other about that.
All right. Have you spoken to your landlord?
Yes, when I was trying to get the ledger and lease agreement the other day, I let them know that we were working with them. No, and asked them to email me that information to get it to Front Steps.
Hi, this is Dawn. I'm the Assistant Community Manager with Northland, with Monterey Ranch.
Hi, Ms. Vecchio. Thank you.
Hi. So, yeah, we did receive just yesterday an email directly from Front Steps. So we cannot give information directly to the resident saying like, you know, hey, I'm working with somebody. It has to come directly from you're right, the organization. So they reached out like
Understandable.
middle of the day yesterday, but I haven't heard back from them. All they did was ask for a ledger.
Ms. Vecchio, you know, Ms. Carcos, I'll give y'all some information here. Because we hear these cases and hear all of these versions. It's not uncommon, and Mr. Emond, Mr. Kreider, kind of for everyone, not uncommon for especially assistance groups is to prioritize or wait until it is sort of kind of at the eviction hearing or even the day after before some of those funds can be released or the need is essentially met, right? So Ms. Vecchio, and be very clear, Mr. Kreider, Mr. Edmond, the plaintiff is under no obligation or they do not have to do anything further. They have met their burden. They can move forward with their judgment. But Ms. Vecchio, I will just highlight or say to you that if the landlord wanted to seek a continuance here, 14 days, 7 days, 30 days even, that's kind of the max we could do. If the landlord was interested in trying to obtain those funds from that other party, we could give you a chance to decide to happen. And if it didn't, come back and then essentially the eviction would go forward at that stage, albeit the number would be higher, Mr. Kreider or Mr. Emond, because if rent remains unpaid, it's not going to be prorated to today. It's going to be prorated to whatever day we're having that hearing on, right? So there's a chance that if legal aid didn't pay or the service didn't kick in, that you would still be evicted with a much higher number. But from our plaintiff, Ms. Vecchio, immediately first thoughts, would you like to take a case? Because we can go forward and y'all can do other things.
So as an agent of Northland, I'm speaking on behalf of Northland that they are not looking for a continuance.
Okay, we will go forward. Mr. Edmond, Mr. Kreider, you absolutely can still reach out to the landlord and to work with that associate, that aid group. And it's possible that in the next matter of days, y'all might come to some agreement. And Ms. Vecchio, on behalf of the plaintiff, if y'all wish to set aside something, we can do that. But they do not have to. I want to highlight that again. Absolutely, everyone can appeal. All right, and on appeal, that gives parties time. Y'all can continue to work and negotiate with each other, including third parties, and see if some other solution can be found. All right. Today, though, without payment and if plaintiff wishes to pursue it, then the judgment, it sounds like Mr. Edmund, Mr. Kreider, there's no dispute. March, April, and May remain unpaid, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, you're fine. I appreciate that. You're being very polite. Don't worry. Just don't call me a dirty word. I have people call me sir all the time, and I'm not offended either, right? What we would do is we would give them the March, the April, and then the prorated for May. So the judgment today of back rent would be the $35.79, and then added to that would be their filing fees. I'd say that either party can appeal. I'd put the appeal bond, I'll stay consistent. Today I'm going with 1 month of rent. So we'll put the appeal bond at $14.60. Mr. Edmund, Mr. Kreider, if you want to appeal and you can't afford it again, you might qualify for the affidavit of inability. If you want to remain in the unit while the case is being appealed, you do have to pay the rent of $14.60, but you give it to the court, not the landlord. We'll give you specific information. All right. You have at least 5 days before the landlord can take further action.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good luck, everyone. Ms. Vecchio, thank you as well. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
She
I was making
wasn't
sure there
gonna-
wasn't a question. I think he's talking to someone off screen. Okay, we're good. Everyone is excused. Thank you. All right, and Ms. Den, why was this case filed?
This case was filed on April 22nd,
Okay, and what's the reason for it? Is this a non-payment or something else?
non-payment of rent,
How much
so
is
it-
the monthly rent?
$10.50.
Any subsidy?
No,
Okay. What months are unpaid?
February, March, April, and now May, and it should be with prorated May 36.24 is what I got.
All right, was this a CARES property?
No,
And when was the notice to vacate?
and we did that on April 8th.
April 8th.
Mhm.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Monroe. Thank you for being here.
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Dennis here on behalf of the Arts, the complex that you're staying at. And so she says, like I've heard from the other case today, this is a financial situation. My question is, the first one, as I've asked others, is the monthly rent amount correct? Is it $10.50?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then Ms. Den says that February through May remain unpaid. Is that correct?
No, ma'am, I personally, yes, and personally, no. I do have money orders for the month of February that total $8.99. I did get a little bit behind, but I was trying to make payments every week. I also have a receipt from 03/01/26 for $300. So yes, ma'am,
Okay,
I am behind on rent, but not that entire total.
All right, Ms. Monroe, how much money have you delivered to the landlord since February 1st?
Very first, about $1,200.
$1,200.
Yes, ma'am. And I did go in to turn in more money in person, and she told me to hold on to those funds.
Totally understand that. And that's absolutely fine, Ms. Monroe. Not uncommon. I've definitely had landlords, and for many, many reasons. They'll say they can't accept a partial payment or they can't accept anything until the judgment is heard. And then sometimes the landlord says, listen, I'd love to take your money, but I can't. The big boss says we have to get a judgment. And then the day after, come into the landlord office, give me all the money and I'll call the court. We can throw it out. That is
Okay.
also a common situation that I have seen, or at least not something that's unusual to have happen. Okay.
Yes,
So what I
ma'am.
can do is I can calculate how much rent was owed, and then I would give you credit for that which you've paid. And then Ms. Den, I'll let you confirm that that's accurate, that she's put that in. And then the amount is what's left. And then Ms. Monroe, if you have money and funds available to you, you can decide what to do with that money. If you'd like to give that money to the landlord to reduce the judgment, certainly that reduces a judgment against you.
Okay.
Whether that makes it a whole again and the landlord wishes to keep the eviction is completely going to be up between the two parties, right? I don't have any say in any of that. All right, let me do some quick calculations then. Ms. Den, just immediately though, is that accurate? Did y'all receive $1,200 from her in the past several months?
We did, but that was going to all the little fees and late fees and stuff prior to that.
Okay,
So
Ms. Monroe, was there a balance running for things like late fees and utilities?
Honestly, ma'am, I do not know. There has been a series of miscommunications since the first month I moved in here. I was told I was gonna get 2 months on half rent because there was a sewage leak. It's still not even completely fixed in my apartment. Sewage came out the bottom of my toilet. I have a dog, it flooded everywhere. I had holes in my walls, giant holes, so that's why I couldn't get a roommate. Everyone kept denying to move in with me. First, I was told that I was gonna get half off rent for 2 months, and then one day she told me she was gonna give me a whole month rent for free, and then I had a referral. I truly and honestly, ma'am, I really don't know. But if she's just looking for these past couple months, I will do whatever to have to to get out of this.
Okay.
And my apartment has failed inspections from the city as well, so I think I have 5 days to appeal this, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay.
All right,
Thank you. I'm so
Ms.
sorry. I've
Mon-
never been in this situation before.
That's right. Ms. Monroe, let me ask you some questions. So you said that you've provided $1,200 in payments, and Ms. Den says that's correct. She says that that was applied originally to outstanding balances from before. So Ms. Den, when's the last time, the ledger wasn't filed and it's not required to be. I'm
Oh,
just curious
okay.
if you were able to access it. Can you see when the last time Ms. Monroe had a zero balance? When was she completely caught up?
That would be November.
Okay. What was the balance owed and outstanding before rent was applied on February 1st?
Or it was applied on February 1st. Let me go back here.
Yes, I guess, if you're looking at January 31st, what was
Right,
the
so
outstanding balance at that time?
1703 and 22 cents. I'm
I'm sorry,
sorry,
how much was it?
1703 and 22 cents.
Okay.
I gotta get closer to my computer.
All right, then, Ms. Monroe, it does appear that though you've made some payments, Ms. Dennis saying that those payments did not apply toward the current rent because there was an outstanding balance of things before that. So what I can do today is I'm going to give the judgment as calculated just on rent, but I will highlight, Ms. Monroe, still reconcile your financials with the ledger from the landlord. If there's any discrepancy such that you have made more payments toward it than you've been given credit for it, that would reduce the judgment, right? If you have paid some of that money, the landlord doesn't get to be paid twice. So you can, and Ms. Den, I'm not saying that the landlord would try to do that. I'm just
Yeah.
highlighting for parties that they don't, it might overlap, but you don't get the money twice. It is made whole entirely. So today I would calculate the judgment to be 3624, and that's 2 full months, or actually 3 full months, which is 3150, and then for 14 days of May, that's 474. So judgment for plaintiff, $3,624 and back rent, plus your cost of court. For appeal, Ms. Monroe, because it has been since February, I would put the appeal bond at twice the rent, which means it will be $2,100, not just $1,050. Again, all the same information. If you wanted to appeal, but you can't afford the bond, you might qualify to appeal for free. In order to stay in the unit, you have to pay at least the monthly rent of $1,050, but we'll tell you when and how to pay that. Okay?
Okay, perfect. And then I can find legal help off these sites, off the paper that I have. Okay.
Absolutely. We send you information. You can also just Google and search and look for them. Anything sort of in Central Texas can probably give you assistance and advice.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Very best of luck to you, Ms. Monroe. And Ms. Den, thank you. If that's all you had, all parties are excused.
All righty. Have a good day.
26694. That's Wildhorn Shiloh doing business as the Shiloh versus Robert Hull and others on behalf of the Shiloh.
Nationwide.
Do I have someone here on behalf of Robert Hull?
Yes, I'm here for myself, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hull. Thank you for being with us and thank you for your patience. All right, Ms. Carcos, tell me why this case is filed.
This is failure to pay rent. The rent is $1,774, but he does have a concession on there, $108. So the calculations are done by that, which is $1,656. So he owes $1,656 for April, and then the prorate amount of $747.87. For a total of $2,403.87 through today. 3-day notice to vacate or notice to pay was hand delivered to him on April 7th. There's no government subsidy. We're seeking back rent, court costs, and possession.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Hull.
Hello.
All right. So my first question, and Ms. Carco says that it looks like you were having a concession on the lease on your rent. So is the rent with the concession, was it $1,656?
I believe so. I don't have it in writing. I haven't had access to a consistent email, nor was the communication sent to my email address including the one for today on court. Outside of that,
How much did you pay, Mr. Hull? When you moved in, how much did you pay for your first month of rent?
For my first month, I had my deposit was $400, and then so on my first month of rent, I believe I paid close to $1,850 or $1,900 if I'm not mistaken, and that was due to my inability to get a hold of anyone in regards to why I didn't get access online immediately. I had set up my direct deposit to not my direct deposit, excuse me, but my banking and debit card information to the account, but apparently did not go through, and I wasn't aware that it didn't. And that happened the following month as well. So I actually haven't received a single concession, but got charged the late charges or late fees as well. And so that has been a little bit of part of the confusion as well.
Okay,
outside of a
Mr.
couple
Hull,
of things.
I did review the lease. Per the lease on page 1, it's clear that the monthly rent is $1,774. So that part is fine. All right.
Okay.
Did you pay the full amount $1,774 for the month of April and May?
I did not.
Okay. Did you make any payments toward those months?
No, I did not.
All right. Well, with that information, the landlord meets their burden on a non-payment matter. Can I answer any questions for you immediately? If you've been listening along, you might have kind of, the cases all follow a pattern, but absolutely, I want to give you a chance. If you have questions or concerns, this is your opportunity to raise those.
No, I've listened to everything you said, and I know exactly what I should do next. Thank you.
Okay. That's why I say it a lot though, because it's good to hear it, and then I finally people go, okay, I get the sense of what it is. All right, well, here's my calculations. It's 1774, which again, it's in the lease that way. It'd be the month of April. Well, it's 1656 for the month of April, right? I'm not gonna add to it. Ms. Carcos, you said 1656, so that's it for the month of April. For the month of May, at the 1774 number, dividing it by the monthly amount, giving it 14 days, I got 801. So
So
801.
I did it by the 1656. My calculation I did by the 1656 in the interest of fairness, because the concession is on the ledger. So that's why I got the 747.
Ms. Carcos, I have absolutely no problem with that. We will put the rent at 1656 and I'll make the award at the same amount. So 2403, Ms. Carcos, that's your calculation of full 1656 April and 14 days at that rate for May.
Correct.
Okay, judgment for plaintiff 2403 plus cost of court. Either party can appeal. I'll put that at 1 month per the rent that we've established at 1656. All right.
Thank
Mr.
you very
Hull,
much.
you have 5 days. Again, you can reach out to the landlord. All parties can take multiple steps.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. And Ms. Garcos, thank you. That's Mr. Hull, that's her. She's going with a smaller number. I got no issue with that, right? Hey.
I greatly appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Everyone is excused. Good luck to everybody, everyone.